and welcome to Around the Whiteboard. Kiefer is tired. Colten is competing. Scott's hair looks great. If you're a coach or an affiliate owner or someone who tracks your workout, you should go to btwb.com/all-in-one. Colten, where do you track your workouts?
On the app that Proven gives me. It's called
Yeah,
Kiefer.
and you should do it on Beyond the Whiteboard. But yeah, cool. Where do underdogs track their workouts, Kiefer? Train Heroic or something, or
Napkin?
Fitter? They should be using BTWB.
What'd you say,
whatever they
Colten?
should use.
Napkin.
Yeah. Napkin if they're lucky. Usually just verbally tell them in the moment.
You guys should go to that link that's on the screen, and they'll move your affiliate or your coaching platform or just you over all your payment details, everything. So like a lot of concerns people have are, but if I move, I'll have to get my members to re-enter their account. No, they just move everything over for you, which is great. And then only the Nigerian prince only takes like 10 grand or something when that's when that's happening. All right, this is the final. So whoever...
I feel like you could have picked better questions for a final.
Oh man, it's such a shit one to start on -1, isn't it?
Spicy one in there for us.
I thought they were the best.
Yeah, he does.
Get us in trouble.
I can't wait for Colten's answer.
Okay. So Kiefer starting on -1. The winner of this, I think the maths might be off, but the winner of this in around 12 weeks will do the final for now.
So are you going to do this the day before the CrossFit Games now? Just to make it stressful on everybody again.
Is that 12 weeks away? Oh, if it's the day before the CrossFit Games, we could do it live. That'll be good. So Seth, Jump Ship Page is waiting for whoever wins this one. They'll face off against him, and then there'll be 12 more weeks of fucking nobodies because I've ran through the list of everybody. So there'll be 12 more weeks of episodes, and then semi-finals, and then a final, and then whoever wins that will go through.
You should do one where you invite John Young and Taylor Swift at the same time. I think that would just be really entertaining.
Yeah.
Brandon Luckett specifically requested to come onto this against John Young, so you could put him as the third.
John Young already lost, so it's not going to happen, I'm afraid. The finale for now. Okay, no sandbagging Kiefer. You can already tell Kiefer's kind of got like low energy. He's kind of got like
I'm saving it. I've spent very little time looking at these questions, so I feel
you're making
excited.
Excuses already.
It's a great way to prepare. Where's my timer? There. What are you drinking? C4?
Yeah, the American version with beta-alanine.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of...
It's like a treat. I couldn't find one in Europe.
Paper Street.
Oh, man.
I like how he showed the mug, like it said Paper Street on it, but it says Rogue instead.
I thought I was wearing a Paper Street t-shirt, but I'm not, so I won't bother stripping off. So some pig emojis coming in. Like people kind of decide Colton's going to win even before he says anything. Oh, here we go. B squad finale. Nobody wants to face me in the super final. But the thing is, that's a super final. Then obviously in another 36 weeks there'll be a super final. It just keeps going forever. It's endless. But at least there's a system in place, and people who win and lose, it actually has an effect on what's happening, and it's not just some banal points. Same people all the time. It's
What's
like
great
different.
Peter doesn't tell anybody this until they're in it, and then you're just in the inception of CrossFit talk forever.
Seth wanted to come on for one show, and now he's trapped.
You should do a losers bracket and bring back all of the old people to fight for a spot back into it if you're going to gather people.
No, I think what I'm actually going to have to do is just start tipping back into people from like the next run onwards, because I'm already like, geez, I mean, who can I get? Like, I'm already starting to run out. Okay. Sorry, Gregory. Can you get started already? I'm sorry. Okay, first question. Mike, known and noble Halpin, was commenting, complaining yesterday that Dave Castro was doing his week in review, and that there was no press conference from HQ, and that the week in review seems to have replaced that. My question is, should HQ do regular press conferences? So they did one at a semi-final last year, I think, at East maybe. And they did one like around the semi-finals time as well, and around quarterfinals time, and they did one at the games, did more than one at the games. They did some online ones too. I remember Mal did one, I think. They've done some anyway. My question is, do they actually need to do them? Colten, you're up first. You got 60 seconds. Your time starts now. Go.
I think if they did them in a correct way, it could be hugely beneficial for them. It could also backfire. But I think if they set up press conferences after each stage of the season where there's going to be lots of issues or grievances, and they invited people to ask real questions, it would only benefit them if they were to take the stance of like, hey, we're going to explain why we did what we did, what we want to do moving forward. And if we do fuck up, we're just going to admit it. Because at the end of the day, if they do make a mistake and people call you on it, if you just say, yeah, I did, and here's what I'm going to do to change it, the conflict sort of ends there. Like, what are they going to say after that? Like, yeah, I already admitted I messed up, but here's what I'm going to do to fix it. And if they don't think they messed up, they have a chance to explain themselves. Leaving us in the dark only kind of makes people angrier and leads people to come up with their own assumptions. And you get someone like Hiller who will get 20% of the facts and then write a magnificent story about it. Not a big shot at Hiller because I do like him. He does that, but that's what they leave us with.
All right, Kiefer, you got 60 seconds. Time starts now. Off you go.
Yeah, I think they have to find a way to have more regular, predictable communication. I don't know that it has to be a press conference, whether it's a press conference, a press release, a podcast, an email. What it seems to be is that we're getting inconsistent messaging at random times and people don't know what direction to turn to. And so I think they need to choose a method that they want to use as their form of communication and do so on a regular basis. Because what happens when they don't have regular communication is that it gives outside media an opportunity to create their own narrative around it. And I think that the issue that CrossFit is having right now has nothing to do with negative outside media, has everything to do with the fact that when they don't dictate a narrative, everybody else chooses how they want to dictate it for them. And then they don't like the way that happens. Like a great example of this would be the worldwide ranking system was clear, even if everybody didn't like it. And even though a lot of people didn't like the fact that spots went to regions that maybe didn't earn them, they understood and it was clear. And so there was very little pushback on that as compared to other things that have happened.
All right, Scott, you're last up. You've got 60 seconds. Time starts now. Off you go.
While having press conferences might be nice, in the past, they've always done them with athletes and with executives at the same time. So the executives can kind of hide behind the athletes during those press conferences. Really what needs to happen is a communication overhaul from CrossFit HQ. They need to embrace third-party media instead of ignoring it. What's happening now is exactly what Kiefer said. Everybody's creating their own narrative because they don't get the word from HQ. They need to set up press conferences with third-party media, with the executives before each event so that we know what's going on prior to getting there. All the leaks come out right before the event, like the change in the rope climb event. If they could have mentioned that beforehand and avoided all the stuff from Hiller and that. Really, they just need to embrace third-party media and use them to dictate their narrative instead of ignoring them and fighting with them on a consistent basis.
Where there was a comment. Oh, Matthew said he ended his show for this. It better be good. Brace for disappointment, Matthew. All right. Colten, you've got 20 seconds. Yeah. Your time starts now. Off you go.
Yeah, there's a comment in there that said CrossFit never makes mistakes, -5 points. Colten, they kind of have a point there in that they never really admit to them. And, everybody makes mistakes. But when you have a leader that can say, yeah, here's where I messed up. Here's what I did wrong. Here's what I'm going to do to fix it. That creates major buy-in from the people that are within the company.
Kiefer, 20 seconds. Off you go. Are you frozen or just recusing yourself?
Yeah, I don't have a lot else to say. I think we've all essentially reinforced the same point that more regular communication is good for everybody. It's good for them. It's good for the people who are trying to learn more about the sport. That's all I got.
Scott, off you go.
Just an overall example of lack of communication Savon used yesterday with the service games. The athletes don't even know what they are. If they would reach out to third party, let us talk about it. When we have athletes on that are former or current service members, we can advertise it, we can talk about it, and so people know what it actually is.
Yeah, I think Haplin's biggest issue is not even the information that's coming out, but the how it's coming out, or it's not coming out in a timely manner, like the changes with the worldwide rankings right before semis kicked off. I know he had a big problem with that. I think that just regular communication would, at least make him pretty happy.
Yeah, sometimes we get things from Dave's Week in Review. Sometimes we get it from Boz being on a third-party podcast. Sometimes there's an email with something hidden in the bottom of it. Like very rarely is there something predictable and planned that we know we can rely on to be like, oh, we're going to get our information on this date through this source.
And the Week in Review, we all tune in, but it's just a
I've said that during my 20 seconds, Peter.
Probably that would have been a good use. Yeah, they should do like a CrossFit Games podcast. That could be good. They could get Chase to host it. Maybe that's a decent idea. Somebody else said Pedge's dad black with a hairline like that. First black farmer in Ireland. No, these are plugs. They're plugs. Scott and Pedro are going to get their media pass revoked for criticizing CrossFit HQ. I think if you'll rewind the tapes, I did neither criticize nor praise CrossFit HQ. What I'm doing here is I'm systematically guess whoing my competition. They're just flicking down their face cards in the board game. I'm
working on a 30-minute rebuttal to why I should have my pass reinstated.
Oh, okay. You've maximum got 60 seconds here, so okay.
Just give him the win so he can have his pedestal at the end.
Scores. 2. I didn't want to change your name, Colten, because Ironhog is kind of funny. Kiefer 2, Scott 2. Nobody says anything like bad there. All valid points, all good. I will say,
perhaps a more controversial question would be better in the future.
Fuck you. Fuck all ever actually is said in press conferences, from my experience.
If they invited people like Hiller there to ask questions,
that's the thing.
That would be very beneficial.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see Hiller's reaction to hearing circle back when he asked the question. But like, I've started doing press conferences with coaches before, like the semifinals and before quarterfinals, after quarterfinals, and like, oh yeah, like everything. Like Steve Fawcett, classic example, came on, talked about HWPO. Everything's great. Everyone's great. 2 days later, Catherine Davis' daughter, season-ending injury. I was like, that seems like the kind of thing you might bring up at a press conference. But yeah, I think people like press conference. I think you're going to get more out of people like Boz and Dave and stuff when they're talking themselves and when they're on a third-party podcast, because their guard is down and they might let something slip, or they might say something, or they might answer something that they wouldn't otherwise be asked. Whereas if they go on a press conference and it's just guys in suits and then Dave in the middle and they push whoever, Mal O'Brien or whatever, out front and say, hey, ask her a question about competing. You're only going to get so much shit anyway. All right. This week, 3 days ago in Europe, Jana Koski was the shock of the leaderboard. You were kind of, for most of Saturday, expecting, you could have muted yourself for that, Kiefer, for most of Saturday expecting a BKG-like comeback, and you were expecting to see the two of them slip back into the top 10. It never transpired. This week, we've got North America West and we've got Oceania. Kiefer, I'm sure, is absolutely fucking thrilled that he's going first on this one. What I want to know is, who is North America West's Jana Koski? Who is the athlete that is most at risk of missing out in North America West? Kiefer, you've got 60 seconds. God bless you. Off you go.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I don't ever want to point fingers at an athlete. And I think this athlete in particular is somebody that I really like to see compete, and I also like to communicate with. But, the reality is that they're probably going to struggle in the first event. It's going to start the weekend off poorly. There's a couple events that are really heavy machine bias. You could say they lean towards machines and grip over the course of the weekend. We saw that with how, things played out with guys like Yella having a really strong weekend, and a couple of the smaller athletes like Uldis and Luka Vunjak struggling towards the end. I think that the guy most at risk is Colten. He's somebody that talks a really big talk. Yona was talking about this is the year of chasing the podium. Colten's talking about coming at everybody's throat. And I just think, unfortunately, that he's at risk for having a massive shit the bed weekend. And as much as I like the guy, it's going to be sad to see.
I'll keep my mouth shut now.
All right. Scott, you got 60 seconds.
Come on.
Time starts now. Off you go.
Well, this is the easiest thing to answer. The two athletes in trouble are Colten and Kiefer Milligan, just to get into my competitors' heads so that I can win this game. But the reality is there are only 3 athletes in this field that have the career that Yona has. And if we're comparing that, you're looking at Brent Fikowski, Pat Vellner, and Sam Quant. Regretfully, I have to say Sam Quant, he has missed the games every 3rd year he's competed. This is year 3 in that cycle. He has shown that he has an illness that sometimes pops up where he has trouble breathing. So, and those things can contribute to what happens on the weekend. So my pick right now is Sam Quant. He's a tremendous athlete, 2 top 4 finishes. That would be shocking, just like Yona.
All right. Batten down the hatches. All right, Colten, 60 seconds. Off you go.
Well, Amy, I would say that, we saw that coming from a mile away once you started. And you don't have to lie and say that you like me and then also say that to try and soften the blow. Man up and stand behind your words. But I don't need to defend myself. I'll let myself, my performance do the talking. But, I think that an athlete who's been to the games 10 times, just coming off his worst games finish, Cole Sager is somebody who could potentially miss out on the games. Last year, there were no rookies who made it through the West. 7 out of the 9 to qualify made it in the top 20. And but I will say I have a lot more respect for somebody who's willing to lay it on the line and allow a younger athlete the opportunity to take that torch from them rather than bowing out before it's their time. But I'll also say I feel really prepared for this weekend. And the only preparation I have left to do is deciding which hole I'm going to stick it into Ricky at the games.
Jesus Christ. Okay. 20. I probably go ask. Right, Kiefer, 20 seconds. Off you go.
Yeah, when I think about who's going to have a Yona-like weekend, I'm not thinking about a guy that's been there for 10 years. I'm thinking more about a guy that is games ready in theory, that talks a really big talk, but can't actually reach the top shelf. And there's really only one guy in this field that can fit that bill, and that's Colten, unfortunately.
Man, okay. Right, Scott, 20 seconds. Off you go.
Every time that people count Colten out and you look at the programming and say he can't do this or can't do that, the guy's a gamer and shows up every weekend, and at the end of the weekend always punches his ticket. So I'm never going against him. But Sam Quant has shown in a history where that every 3 years he doesn't make the games. This is that easy.
Colten, 20 seconds. You can just use it all to tell Kiefer to go fuck himself if you want. Off you go.
Well, if your coaching is as bad as your intellect with coming up with a short joke, I think all your athletes are going to be in trouble this season. It doesn't take much to come up with that. Yes, I am short. I'm the smallest athlete out there. For 3 years in a row, they've been counting me out. For 3 years in a row, I've made it. So we'll see what happens.
Cool.
So you just wasted all of your time defending yourself and your ego instead of spending it reinforcing your argument to get more points.
I did enough work.
So did I just pull you? I just pulled you into my game, really.
I did enough work in the first minute.
No, you did enough work when you made the Ricky comment. That's what got you the points in that round. All right. Fucking hell. Okay. Where there was 2 very good comments. I need to find them. Fuck.
Somebody please clip a reel of what he said about Ricky so that Ricky can see it.
Oh, I'm going to send it to him immediately after this.
The thing about me and Ricky talking shit, it's all good because we're going to toe the line. People like you and Collar who like to stay on the sidelines and run your mouth, you can step up to bat or you can keep quiet.
Okay,
sure.
That's how you win a show right there. That was in relation to Kiefer's hot take. You know what? Kiefer isn't as handsome as I thought he was. That's what's on me in response to the same. You've also been called Queefer. So that's a new one. A healthy Sam is unstoppable. In response to Scott, I hereby evict Kiefer from Las Vegas for their inexcusable assault on the Iron Hog. Wow. Oh yeah, good pick, but he'll win Spirit of the Games. I think that's cool that they're talking about. Oh, that's good. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff is right. Okay, I think it's actually for a lamp. Do you know what's actually really weird? You can't really see it. So this room is entirely empty because all the stuff has now been moved out to the new room. So you'll have a different room to complain about whenever the electricians get their fucking finger out and start doing something, because I'm not Colten and I'm not handy. Okay. Did I do the scores? I did. All right. All to play from the last round. 5 points apiece. Scott got it for specificity and examples. Kiefer got it for a hot take. And let's be honest, Colten mainly got it for his Ricky comment. But he also, I thought it was pretty ballsy to drop an athlete that you're going to be competing against this weekend's name as someone who's not going to make it. I thought that took a set of cojones. I also like Kiefer's angle, because realistically it's difficult for him to actually pick an athlete that he really thinks won't qualify, but for entertainment purposes, Colten was an excellent choice. All right, our last topic. Scott, you're going first on this one. So whoever wins this topic, whoever gets the most points here, it wins, basically, because we're all tied. Pedro has cooked this to use a surprise final question. All square after 3, he needs a tiebreak. No, you see, what would make sense is after the last time when there was a tie, which was Colten's episode, I think, and I had to have 2 of them back on, him and Caroline. What should happen there is I should have come up with a way to separate the scores at the end. That's what I should have done. But what I've actually done is not do that, which, could prove to be problematic. But anyway, our final question. I want to know who is CrossFit's best commentary duo. So last weekend in Europe, we had Chase Ingram and Lucy Campbell, amongst others. Lauren Smith was there as well. Ollie Mansbridge dropped in and out. Boz dropped in and out. We've also got... what's the guy's name in Australia?
Rookie?
Yeah, what's his actual name, though?
Don't know.
Shit, he's good anyway. It begins with a J, does it? We formerly had Bill and Chase, Chase and Sean, Bill and Chase, Sean and Tommy. I saw Lauren Khalil put a little microphone emoji in one of her posts today heading to West, so maybe she's going to jump in the fray. I'm trying to think who else. Brian Friend at Wadapalooza. Adrian Conway, another one. Okay, anyway, I'm just fucking listing people. Okay, so who is CrossFit's best commentary duo? Scott, you've got 60 seconds. Your time starts now. Go.
I think what's wrong here is that CrossFit doesn't approach broadcasting in the correct way. It's a lot of like mishmashing of people. It's a lot of mishmashing of roles. Chase is sometimes the color guy, sometimes the play-by-play. He doesn't have the chance to hone his skills in one direction or another. CrossFit needs to come up with teams so that they are paired and that they can form a synergy to go back and forth. I've learned over the last couple months working with Carolyn Prevost, she has a lot of knowledge. I need to know what she's thinking so I can set her up. And that's what would happen if we let those people gel. For the most part, I think the down the fairway pick is Sean and Chase. They do a great job at the games. But man, this weekend, Chase and Lucy were on fire. That is a duo I would like to see together more and more. But I just want them to stay together so they can gel and become more better at their jobs.
Cool. Right, Colten, 60 seconds. Off you go.
I think the only logical answer here is Chase and whoever is lucky enough to be graced by his presence. I think whoever you put that guy on there with, he does a great job. He embodies the culture, spirit of CrossFit. He's really knowledgeable. He does a great job at conveying to the audience why these events are important, how the race is laying out, what's on the line, what to be looking for, all kinds of things like that. And I think if you could create a mystical duo, the best one that you could ever have would be Chase Ingram and then John Young yelling, his character that's always in the comments. I think that'd be an unbeatable duo. Nobody would be able to turn off the screens. But yeah, I think Chase does not only do a good job at showing the sport, but he also does a good job at explaining to people at home who aren't interested in competing the other side of CrossFit, CrossFit for Health, and the affiliate side of things like that. He's an affiliate owner himself, CrossFit Big D in Dallas. I think he's the obvious choice.
Former affiliate owner, but yeah. Kiefer, 60 seconds. Off you go.
Yeah, so like these guys, I had Chase near the top of my list as somebody that I think that you have to have on, because I think he's so comfortable on the mic. He has a really good feel for what's going on, both from a broadcast perspective and keeping people on track that maybe aren't deep fans the way we are, who can follow it ourselves. He can help keep you on it. But also from the side of, understanding the depths of the workout, how this is feeling for athletes and whatnot. The other person I was thinking of, who I'm going to choose to be different from these guys, was having Sean Woodland there. I think that his voice is something that's really recognizable in the sport. We all know it. He's made some of the best final calls on last workouts. With Sean, though, the person you have to pair with is somebody who gives this very Peyton Manning or Kobe Bryant feel, this detailed aspect of it, and hasn't had a chance to do this much, but would be awesome to see. And that's J.R. Howell. I think he looks at workouts from a very different perspective than other people. He's very clear in the way he articulates things. And I think it would be really awesome to have him paired with somebody like a Sean who can just show us what's happening over the weekend.
Nobody would watch the actual workout, though, if JR was near a camera. Okay, Scott, 20 seconds. Off you go.
So apparently Kiefer can't listen, because I did say Sean and Chase is my number one duo. I also think we need to give other people a chance. One person I have in mind is Jamie Hagia. She is amazing when she's on the sideline. She gives so much intel. I think they need to give her a shot as a color analyst as well.
Colten, 20 seconds. Off you go.
Yeah, Captain America. I mean, he's the best we have in this sport. He's been doing it for a long time. I think whoever you put on there with him, he elevates them. You can kind of put him on there with people who kind of even don't know what they're talking about. I saw that a few times with the guests he had for, single events over at Europe. I think he's kind of the GOAT.
Jesus. Okay. Kiefer, last 20 seconds. Off you go.
I mean, Scott just used his 20 seconds to change his pick and say that he should have somebody else, so that de-incentivizes his choices. And I was saying that I chose somebody other than Chase purely to have a totally different perspective. I think that Sean paired with somebody like JR would be a perfect combination of being able to make the big calls at the right moment, and somebody who can really show us the...
Sorry, what? All right. I need to do up my final scores. This has been one of the episodes I've enjoyed the most of all the episodes I've done. Guys, this was good. This was really good.
I said Sean Kiefer. I said Sean in my first pairing.
I just meant I was going against Chase because he was 2 for 2 on picks. Nothing against Chase. I love having him on the broadcast.
Well, that's not what you said before.
Nobody. That's not true. I said I was making a choice. This doesn't fucking matter. Colton's still upset because he's placing 13th, and he's going to have to sit there for 3 hours after to get piss tested with the other 2 people who are just outside the line, because they have to have 3 people outside of those that were going pee. So he's going to sit there while 10 guys are celebrating, just waiting to pee in a cup, just in case 2 other guys pop.
It's 9, but you can attack me all you want, even though you can't defend your argument.
Damn, where's the popcorn?
Yeah, I could just let this run and run. Okay.
Don't let
final
it run too
scores.
fast. Colton won't catch it.
Fuck. Final scores. So Colton takes it 7.5. Kiefer 7. Scott 7. I will say it's interesting that the most
8.5 because he was attacked.
No, honestly, if you backtrack it, the winning half point probably came from what one of Ricky's am I going to stick it in comment, to be honest. That was probably the separator. I think it was genuinely really good though, from everybody. I don't think anybody it's someone has to win and 2 people have to lose. And unfortunately, Kiefer and Scott, you both suck balls, so the 2 of you lost and Colton won. No, everybody's great though. We're all friends. It's interesting to me how the most common name across, when I was writing that question about the commentators, I was kind of thinking, God, who would they pick? Who are the 2? Because you could just have your own favorite, your own, I really like listening to this person, I really like listening to that person. But it's interesting how all of you said Chase, and how, I don't know if you guys were watching the live stream from Europe, but the consistent comments throughout the live stream in Europe were how good Chase was, how good Lucy was. I think Lucy was as good as she was because she's intelligent, she's articulate, but because she had Chase, and she even said it today on Instagram, she put up a post saying geez, if I didn't have Chase, he was a huge help. So I think it cannot be a coincidence If anybody from the small team is listening, it cannot be a coincidence that Chase's name is the most common name across the board when it comes to who is the best part of the best duo, any duo. Whether that's somebody new like JR from Kiefer, or somebody who's just started like Lucy from Scott, or somebody who's been around a long time, or anybody, basically, like Colten said. So with that in mind, I just think somebody should get Chase to sign a contract now for the games. I think that's what everybody wants to see. Colten, you got 30 seconds to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Time starts now. Go.
Pedro, I just want to congratulate you on your baby boy, and I know you named him after my beautiful baby boy, Mr. Otis, Mr. Baby Otis. And I think Otis in I can't remember what language, but it means wealth, or to be wealthy or something like that. So that's a good omen for your baby, and I hope you guys are doing well and you're getting a little bit of sleep. And congratulations to you and your lady.
Thank you. That was a total fucking waste of 30 seconds, Colten. Thank you. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, we did actually name our child after. It's funny because I bounced some names off JR because he's kind of far enough removed from my literal close circle that like none of the names, like if we just picked a totally different name, it would never come back, whatever. So I was like, I'll ask JR and see what he thinks. And my wife said, yeah, okay. And then I sent him like a list of 3 names or something. And Otis was on the list, and he replied and said, Otis will forever and always just be Colten Merton's dog. And I was like, fuck. So then we picked it anyway. All right, Colten, you're back in like, I don't know, fucking 12 weeks or longer. I'm not really sure. I'll be in touch. Good luck this weekend, Colten in the West. Good luck, Kiefer, to your other half in the West, and to all the underdog athletes in Oceania. Ricky, Bailey, there's heaps, like Grace, there's like half the fucking field are underdogs. Scott, good luck with your continued coverage of semifinals athletes. Thank you, everybody, for watching and commenting and everything else. Yeah, thanks. That was great.